There is an ice storm rolling in later this evening to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Getting out a little early before the ice hits the road. They're doing a little pre-planning here by dumping salt upon the streets, just in case it gets a little too chilly and frozen over on the thoroughfares. That's what's going on here. See that truck up there? Just dumped a bunch of ice on the overpasses because bridges freeze up quicker than the roads do. So we'll stop behind this dump truck with ice. I'm heading over to a couple of interesting spots that no longer exist anymore. Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here as the recording of this Friday, January 21st. You can almost see my breath. 2022. I meant to say salt on the roads, not ice. They were putting salt on the roads to deter the ice for drivers a little bit later. Right now it's about 34 degrees, but it's going to get down to 30, and there's some sleet and rain in the forecast. Behind me is a former structure, an abandoned structure. I'm standing in the parking lot of what was, back in 2008, the Hard Rock Park, Hard Rock Cafe. The incorporation around that created a theme park, and this was one of the parking lots. In fact, there was a mall that featured a dark ride, which some of my favorite amusement park attractions are dark rides, that sat right over there. There's not a whole heck of a lot left. The theme park only lasted 1 year, and then it was sold and went under a different name called Freestyle Park, and that only lasted like not even another year or so. There's a really good video and a documentary that Bright Sun Films put out. If you want to watch that, you can really get a lot of in-depth detail. This is just more of an update of what the property looks like now at the start of 2022, as a new development company obviously has taken over and they are starting to tear it down. So I'm going to just show this, and then I'm going to go by an abandoned raceway that's on the outskirts of town. But this is one of the few buildings here next to the parking lot. You can see it has seen better days. Before the freezing rain rolls in, I'm inviting you to join me. Shall you? And this is one of those theme parks that I never had the ability to visit while it was open. Regretfully, I wish I would have come out here and checked it out. But at least I'm here now. I had the opportunity many years ago, a decade ago, to walk around Six Flags New Orleans, which was Jazzland, then Six Flags New Orleans, which is sitting empty still to this day. Look at this. This is pretty awesome. So this pretty much designates that this was part of the property right here on the front parking lot. This is a relic of theme park history. Was not expecting really to find anything, but this is pretty magnificent. This guitar right here, look at this, just bolted on. Yeah, there you go. So that is going to be leveled very soon by the heavy equipment that is just off to the side. The parking lot I just drove in, there is some fence up around where they are doing the heavy construction. So not going to be going over into those areas where the heavy equipment is. But I am going to walk around through here. Oh my gosh. Oh. Is this what I think it is? This must have been a preview center. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. This is like an aerial view. I'm just going to assume this was a preview center. This is a antique relic as well. So the way it worked was you got Hard Rock Park, world's first rock and roll theme park. You have the all-access entry plaza, rock and roll heaven over there, an area for the British invasion. There was a lagoon. There was this iconic structure there of the guitar. Lost in the 70s land, born in the USA, and of course cool country. And the parking lot right here. So parking lot there and a parking lot up there. And it looks like there's a parking lot down here. Now the correlation of where I'm standing precisely, can't really figure out just looking at it real quick like, but yeah, this is really cool. It looks as if someone tried to maybe tear it off the wall They didn't try very hard though. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Not a whole heck of a lot else in here. The roof isn't in the best shape. Got a little rain on my lens. All right, I'm gonna go and just kind of drive around the perimeter of where the park was and try to point out where a few things were. Wow, I've already found a couple good things. I wasn't expecting to find anything. At the brick pillars here, and then the rock work into this little, probably a topiary here at one point, or some sort of statue walking out this way. Now, as I was saying, heavy equipment, so there's a lot of rubble over there where the little shopping mall that had a dark ride in it, and then the park itself, you can see Medieval Times is still way over there on the horizon, and the lagoon would be over in that area. But a lot of this fence has fallen down. Now, I'm not going to be trouncing around over in that area where the heavy equipment is, but I will just kind of drive along this fence line, just see what I can see. It is gusty out here, holding the camera with one hand and the umbrella with the other. You can see a couple more of those brick pillars. Now, the rides were all sold off a few years ago and shipped to other theme park attractions all over the world. So there's no rides left out here anymore, but there were quite a few of kind of extreme coasters. It seemed like a pretty fun place. You can see on satellite view, the items are still there. So there was where the lagoon was, and the attractions, coasters, buildings, and this little blue dot over here is me. So the little strip area where the mall was with the dark ride was right in there. So that can kind of use this as bearings and try to figure out kind of what I'm in close proximity to from the past. I saw a recent update a couple months ago, and the building that was standing here still existed. So just in the past couple months, this heavy equipment has rolled in and torn down the big building that was right here in the front next to the parking lot. And obviously a lot of storms go through here and high winds, so the fence is just completely blown over. Now over there you can see a little bit of a foundation or some rock work, no pun intended, you know, hard rock theme park, but there's some rock work there, and maybe even some steel beams or some trees or something right there, still kind of protruding up out of the ground. Should probably zoom in a little better on that. Again, I'm not going to walk on the property, especially where the heavy equipment is. But that's one of the few things left. Looks like there's something off on the horizon too over there next to where the lagoon was. But all this is rubble. Looks like an earthquake rolled through here, but it didn't. It's just bulldozers. Or something similar. Just got to be careful driving through this. Looks to be a downed light pole here. Okay, this appears to be where the main entrance was, right there. As I pull back, as the wind is very strong coming in from that angle, so pull back. But this seems to be the main entrance plaza where you'd pull in, pay to park. Light has fallen. All grown over. Figures how many happy guests that first year. It opened to quite a bit of fanfare. The locals loved it, but only lasted 1 year. And then the attendance started to diminish, dwindle drastically. And no matter what they did, they just couldn't bring people in. Yeah, this is probably a beautiful entryway at one point. Wish I could have seen it or been here in its heyday. For some reason, it just kind of slipped past my radar back then. I knew of it, but never went when it was open. And then years later, when it sat here and you could still see the rides, you couldn't get in. They had a lot of, a lot of people on property just watching the facility. So it wasn't something that was accessible. But as you can see now, with this fence down. But truthfully, in this kind of elements and weather, I don't know, really walking around out there. Oh, what is that over there? Is that a tram? I see something way off in the distance, directly in the center of the screen. I can't tell if that's like a snack bar or a tram or a boat. Right in the middle of the screen. Has like a red awning. It's like either a boat or a tram. That would be my guess. Why that would still be out here is beyond me, though. Because you can see right there, the heavy equipment there. Just obviously they're not working today. Something is almost looks like a little tiny sparkling fire over there too, right in the middle. Right, kind of in the middle of the screen now. What is that? It's like a glimmery, shining item. That's peculiar. After closer inspection, I realized what it was. There's some little tiny flags that are waving in the breeze over there. They're little orange flags that are in the ground. That's, it almost looked like a little flame from a fire, but it wasn't. It was just the orange waving in the wind. See, some of the brickwork is sprawled over here. I do love a good dark ride, but I wasn't able to go to the one in here. Wow, there is a lot of equipment out here. No workers today. There's some destroyed metal beams over there. Look at that. No telling what that's from. And piece of the brick wall there that still hasn't been demolished, but soon will be. I would imagine another developer bought this land. They're gonna put something else here and they gotta clear it out first. Usually something does not get destroyed or torn down unless something else is gonna go in its place. It doesn't make sense to spend the money to tear something down when the land's not being used, so it's usually how things work. There's another great relic. When it was Freestyle Music Park. But basically, Freestyle Music Park came in, tried to do away with the Hard Rock name. They didn't think it was marketable enough, and it deterred some guests with the connotation of hard rock. But Freestyle Music Park didn't work either, obviously. Guest parking gate 1, administration and receiving. Okay, it appears as if there was an amphitheater right here, so I'm gonna kind of peek through the fence that's still standing and see if I can see some of the rubble from that amphitheater. You can even see how it has that amphitheater type of seating arrangement with the stage being there and then the guests up there. But I'm right there where that blue dot is. So I'm just gonna look away from the parking lot and see what I can see. Right about there is where the amphitheater was. In fact, these rocks and rubble probably from the stage of that. Look at that bent, rusted out metal right there. Almost like a, I don't know what that would be, like a, gosh, your guess is as good as mine. Right there in the little foliage, the dried up foliage. It is chilly. Got my hand cupped over the mic because the wind is so strong right now. Or at least feels pretty strong with the crispness in the air. You see medieval times off there in the distance. Looking on that satellite view, I am in view directly across of where the guitar, the Hard Rock guitar was, that iconic structure, would have been directly in the middle of the screen away from me. Right about there, next to the lagoon. You can almost see like an indent in the ground where the lagoon used to be. And it appears as if on the other side of the lagoon is a standing building or two they have not gotten to destroying yet. So I'll drive over the other side, see what I can see. See him right there? That kind of greenish awning building. That looks like it's original. Gonna pull back out of the property and kind of zip around to the other side of the property to take a look. You can see the fence torn down over here. And then that building over there that was the Welcome Center that had that kind of bird's eye perspective guide map on the wall. That's the one that's over there, right next to that road. But anyone can just pull into this parking lot pretty simply. A lot of birds going around. Yeah, pulling out the once beautiful and manicured. Ah, here we go. This says crew parking. Okay, so this might have been around the back of the property, and the main entrance is over there where those buildings still might be standing. Freestyle Music Park Gate 2 crew parking. And I know it doesn't seem like much, But trust me, this is a lot more than I was expecting to find. So I'm glad I'm doing this. I thought it was all going to be leveled, but not, maybe 90% of it is. 10% still here. There's now a new hotel here off of Backstage Lane. This post looks like it's seen some years. But where this fence is used to be, from where the new hotel parking lot is, into the Backstage Lane. Through here, you can see where the road used to go in, off of Backstage Lane, and another post here. This is around the other side. I kind of drove around about a block or so around this way. You can see not a whole lot to see left from Backstage Lane. Now angle. Pulling around the still in operation Medieval Times. Medieval Times! Cable guy. But from this angle, might be able to see what's over. This is also off of Backstage Lane or Backstage Road. Okay, so yeah, my assumption was correct. Over there, over the fence line, there are a couple of buildings from Hard Rock Park, almost said cafe, Hard Rock Park, back in there. You see they're kind of graffitied up. And the shed here, yeah, that shed's still there. I don't know what it was used for, but definitely still a couple of buildings still on site. Wasn't expecting anything, as stated. And to give an example of where I'm at now, I'm going to peek through this fence from the Medieval Times parking lot. New parking lot there. That's the blue dot. And I'm going to look across the lagoon from this angle. Obviously, satellite view has not been updated because most of these buildings are now gone, but on satellite, they're still around. I would imagine this little shed here has been commandeered by Medieval Times. There's a lock on the door. But I believe it was owned by the former property that it was its neighbors. Now there is this fence. This has not been blown down by the wind. But take a look through here at the amount of rubble that is inside there. And there's that building off on the horizon that I was kind of showing from a better angle when I was up in the parking lot a little bit more. And I'll just put my camera up over the fence just to kind of show. Don't want to drop my camera over the fence. Then I'd have to go get it, and that wouldn't, don't want to do that. Ah, might get a better peek over here. Grown over parking lot. I might be able to drive up in there, possibly. Yeah, I'll try to drive over there, but here's another guest parking. You can see Medieval Times right there. Just have to use your imagination. What it was like back in the day when guests were showing up here with smiles on their faces saying, we're gonna ride some rides. Not today. This roundabout leads into what I was just looking across, that empty parking lot. And they got these little brick stanchions in front, well, concrete, right up here. If I could drive through there. Very carefully. Made it through. There's enough room. Let's drive up here and see what I can see. The interesting thing is I pulled in, there was a car pulled up to me. I thought it was someone that was going to say, hey, you're not supposed to be back in here, and you couldn't drive down that road. But it was just someone else that was looking around, and they kind of smiled and waved. So the fence I'm showing where all the heavy equipment is over there, but there's this as well, which now this seems more obvious that this was the main entrance plaza here. Take a look. Palm trees are downed. There are some structures still up at this moment. This was the main entrance of Hard Rock Park. That was around the backside was the guest entrance number 2. And this was the main one. You see the focal point here as you walk in past the ticket booths and whatnot. There's an archway over there. Still a couple buildings. Nothing too major, but there is a little bit. In fact, I think this was the main gate. Let me walk over to where the main gate was. Doesn't seem to be anybody out here at all. I just drove right in. And the other car that passed by and waved and kind of nodded, they were looking around as well. They drove in down this road, which is accessible as well. So where I was looking at first, with the fallen down fence, I guess I should have drove around here originally. Would have made a little more sense. Just pull right up and check this out. Wow, look at this, the theming here of this brickwork. This will all be gone very soon, very soon. The old lantern there, or the old light. Yeah, theme park history. Right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. A failed theme park, only lasted a year. Fascinating, fascinating stuff. Now, this is as far as I'm gonna go in. I'm not gonna go deep into there. I'm just gonna go to right to the edge here. But pretty neat to see. I think I've seen about everything that's still standing, either from a zoom lens, and you know, the main entrance started here. So this is where I'm gonna stop this particular one, and I'm gonna go over to the racetrack, which is also empty. It is so chilly, my eyes are watering. Fingers are numb. I need to get some gloves. I realize I need to get some gloves. But I probably should have put my secondary jacket on, but I plan on doing all this from the car. And excitement, when I pulled in and parked, well, I can walk up to the front entrance. I'm gonna get back in the car now. One last zoomed in look here from the front entrance, zoomed way in at this barn-like building. Metal contraption there. Also a building there, which has not been demoed yet. And another one there, that the shingles and roof have been kind of torn off all these years. Much more comfortable in the car. I don't think I'm going to be getting out of the car much more today. That ice storm is rolling in a little bit later. I'm going to drive up to the where the main entrance was, now that I know where the main entrance was. See what I can see if there's a sign there. However, I think I'm going to go back out to the backstage road off property and loop around, because they have one of these grates here. Doesn't appear as if they have the tire puncturing metal up anymore, but I'm not going to take a chance. Yeah, I'm not going to take a chance. I don't need a punctured tire. So I'm just gonna, I got it in reverse, backing it up. I'm gonna go back out this way and kind of loop around. Last thing I need is a completely punctured tire. Now loop back around onto the property, drove down this road, and this is where the parking attendants would stand. And their little areas, their little workspaces, have been removed, it appears. However, the signage is still over here. Let me loop over this way. They even had pass holders back when it was freestyle. The freestyle part came after Hard Rock Park. Today's hours, pass holder parking. And right here is where the employees, team members, would stand and take your money. But they have removed the stand that was right there that had the register. They give you the little parking decal and whatnot. The electrical cords would be right in there. There were about 6 of these. 1, 2 there, and then on the other side 2 more, so a total of 4, not 6. And then you pay the money, not admission fee, but you pay for parking, and then you pull through here. continue down that road to the main entrance. Past the flagpoles, which right now none are waving in the breeze and have not been for a very long time. Well over a decade, this place has been sitting empty. Over here, however, off to the side of the property, they're building some sort of obstacle course, which does not have to do with this property. This is on the very next section over. There's a church building over there in the distance too. Here's an emergency phone. The phone's not there anymore. Appears also off to the side of the property here, some truckers are using it to store their vehicles. They probably rent this space out. The truckers who need to park their trucks. You excited, Bigfoot? First one's here. First one's here. A little vacation reference. Okay, pull it up to the front. This would be the front entrance, parking on either side, parking around the back. Another one of these emergency telephones, and all the rubble and decay and what has been bulldozed of the former Hard Rock Park. Straight ahead. That was the tour. If it wasn't so cold, I would do my interpretation of Chariots of Fire, Chevy Chase, running through this parking lot. Yes, I know. That was in Southern California vacation, but it just gives me those vibes. It's this empty parking lot right here. First one's here. First one's here. Oh, wow. Over here at this intersection, away from the property, is this sign with the arrow still up. Look at that. That's kind of reminiscent of Rock and Roller Coaster, right? With the guitar, the loop-de-loop. Freestyle was what popped in after Hard Rock. But the whole place is only open a couple years total. Also wanted to add in the remains of the Myrtle Beach Speedway, which are over here to the side. Opened up in the 50s. I believe it closed a couple of years ago. There's also some heavy equipment out here tearing it down. Couple of very iconic, notable Myrtle Beach places that are being just torn out. Okay, the road I'm on didn't take me back over there like I thought it would, so kind of backtracking, but getting a side view of it here. So got the lights up for at least a short while longer. And the track's right over that berm. And there's quite a few trucks in there removing debris. So it is an active site, so I'm not gonna go back there. But I just wanted to show that, because this is another unique spot for Myrtle Beach. I'll show the satellite view, I'll show the track still back there. You can still kind of see the layout of the track, but still see the layout of it. And where I'm parked obviously is that blue dot. Currently being destroyed. I can hear them in there working. I can hear it. I can hear the destruction happening now in the removal of debris. So it might not even be hardly anything except maybe the lights are still up, but that's the Speedway. Right over there. And that's gonna do it for today. Checked out a couple of relics of the past here in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Boy, there's a real beehive of activity back in there. The sign is still here. Myrtle Beach Speedway, be a part of history. Pretty fascinating. I'll see you in the next video. The vlog is over.